say the blank automation scenario, the screen look like this. It's a plain canvas with this kind of a placeholder, which can drag, drop, move anywhere, wherever you want. Then there are a couple of controls given over here, which we'll come to later on. Now, before we touch this automation, remember I told you there is a pre-automation checklist. You should know what you wanted to automate. You should know what all softwares are involved. You should know APIs are available or not. And you should also define a full length process, like what I'm going to do at step 1, step 2, step 3, what are the logics, what are the conditions, and then the system is going to follow those steps, the same sequence again and again and again. So give you the right output, the expected output, what you configured it for. So this kind of a process development is very much essential before we start it. Now, let's go back to the same example, the same case, what I built actually for my own automation need, right? Let's create a new Google Sheet and let's start from here. So the automation case start from the very basic thing, which is called what is the need of automation. So for example, let's say I had a requirement, I had a problem statement which says I get many ideas every day. I wanted to create social media posts around them, but I don't have time, right? So I need some place where I can park ideas. Then I wanted to connect it to some sort of AI, be it GPT, be it any sort Anthropic Cloud, Perplexity, or any AI. AI is going to create content for me. AI is going to create image for me. And then I have two choices. One is either the same AI can do automated posting on social media, or if I don't rely on AI, then I'll say, no, I wanted to make that post. So I wanted to review that content first, and then I'll tell AI, okay, go ahead and make the post, because obviously my accounts are sensitive. I don't want to get into any sort of, let's say, uh, puzzle or any sort of awkward situation when AI did something bad, not the correct approach, and I was not even knowing to that, right? So I put in a process in middle that I want to review all the content which goes out before it goes out, right? So first of all, my initial thought process is I get hundreds of ideas every day and I wanted to park them somewhere because I can't keep them in my mind. I may slip out something. So I thought, like, what is the best tool to do that? It can be a notepad, it can be Excel sheet, it can be a Google sheet, it can be Airtable or something else. What I could decide is Google Sheet is a free tool. So let's go ahead with Google Sheet. So I simply created a Google Sheet over here. It's called Master Social Media Automation, Content and Posting version 1. Within that, I have a sheet called Sheet 20. Let's give it a good name. So it can be Social Media Posting Tracker, for example. So I created a file, I created a sheet over here. Now at the first column, what I want is let's park all the ideas over here. So initially I'll say this is the first column where I can put, I'll just zoom in, idea, or maybe I'll say content ideas, right? So whenever I get any idea, I can simply put things over here and system should pick from here itself. Now, can any one of you quickly tell me at least 2, 3, 4 ideas what you wanted to create post about? Quickly. Okay, I don't see your chat. New product launch, tracking post. Guys, try to do one thing. Just give it at least one sentence or two sentences. Take your time. That's fine. Just take one or two sentences so we can do justice with the post. Otherwise, it'll be a disaster, right? You will see something really awkward, weird, which GPT could not sense, like what is the context about the session. Okay, a good thing about the session. So I already had something in my mind that says write a post about AI generalist, how it is becoming important skill for future, right? So let's say I'll just put something over here. You all can see. Let me format the sheet quickly. And I hope I'm not going too fast. Is it digestible? Are you all with me? Are you getting what I'm like trying to communicate? Quickly, just confirm me. Am I fast? I'm good. Am I slow? Am I like really going really slow? Okay, it's all good, right? Mostly good pace. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Good validation. Thank you. So, okay, someone said just create a post about this particular session. Here the content idea is write a post about or how the AI generalized role is becoming very important. It should include numbers and to bring in like better context, understanding, and so on. This can be anything, right? Whatever comes to mind, you can just put things over here. And I think someone started establishing business of operations using AI. I'll try to include that as well. Establishment of business operations using AI. Who's that? Sai Shweta. You gave it a good idea. Perfect. See, so we have now two ideas. Maybe 10 more comes out. The second part of my thought process is I wanted to post on three different social media platforms where I wanted my presence. So it's Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, right? These are the three platforms where I have either business pages or my own personal account, and that's where these posts should go. But a question in my mind, like, should I create one single piece of content, one single image that goes same across all the platform? Then I realized no. Why not? Because the LinkedIn is a more professional, more formal platform versus Instagram is very much casual, right? Facebook is a kind of middle level of both. So the same content, the same post structure is not going to work on all these platforms. So then I decided, why not to create platform specific content for each of these segment. So once the content will be created, it's going to be like, you can see here, this is my post idea. I wanted three pieces of content for different platforms. So here I can put something like, let's say, Facebook post content. Then I'll have another piece called Instagram post content. Then I'll have something here for LinkedIn post content. See, again, I'm telling you one very, very important thing. This is whole process that I built in my mind as per my own use case. Now, you may have something different. You may have a different use case. You may have a different thought process. You may have a different way of working. It all depends how you think, what the need you have, and like how you want to build this automation, what kind of control you want, right? So super important to define that thought process. Super important to define that vision, that whole idea, and then only you should start touching the automation. So even we have this automation scenario open over here. I did not touch that. I'm going to first establish my process and then only I'm going to test this whole thing. So content idea is good. Three pieces of content are good. Then there is another question. Will this be going to be a normal text post or should I add some sort of creative, some sort of image to it? Obviously, the answer is add some image because image posts are more engaging, more attractive, more clickable as compared to a normal text post, right? These days, people have less attention span, no one is going to read directly. People would want to see some image as well. So, image is finalized. But after that, we would want, are these going to be three different images or one single image? So I thought, why not to have one single image? Because creating three different creatives will take more time, more effort. If I'm doing it manually on a Google Drive or something, it's going to take a good amount of time effort. And again, image should be consistent across the platform. So post can be recognized. It can be a different voice tone, but image should be same. So my next need is I should have an image over here. Now, obviously I cannot put a file over here. So I'm going to put the image link or image URL, which is correlating with the particular image. So this is my whole structure over here and I'm good to go with this. The need is established. I just converted this to a table. So it looks all good. And you can see the different post content will come over here along with the image URL. Now, another question came to my mind and another conflict I would say, I can have or I can get 10 different ideas in next 10 minutes, right? But I don't want to create all 10 posts together in next 10 minutes itself, right? It should be ideas are keep on coming. I wanted this to be as a space where I can park all of them, but I don't want to execute them all together at the same time. It can be an idea bank. So it can like just go one at a time every day. And this will become a huge, like a whole repository for the whole year, for whole month, whole 6 month and all. So if I build an automation which is going to look at all of these post ideas and if it will just list everything, will run everything through, then it will be a disaster for me. So what I thought is, why not to have a control? The control is whenever I say create post for this or create for this, it should create post only for that particular item, not for everything else. And that's where the control column comes in. So here we are going to have something called a control column, control part. And if I say over here, generate content for this, generate content for post, for example, then only this should generate content for this particular post. Otherwise, no need to do any action. Otherwise, like obviously it'll run everything through. Then how will I get to know if content is generated? So as soon as the content is generated, it should say it's ready for review, or AI should say content is ready for review, right? So this is going to be my second status. The third status, since I wanted to review it, then again, I'll have to tell it, go ahead and post it, right? So I'll say post this content. This is my third level of command to the system. And then finally, once the posting is done, it will say posting done, something like this. So now these are the four different status I would want to maintain in the sheet as a control, as a command column, as a command thing at every post. So it should not do everything by its own thought process or by without having any control. It should be a controlled environment. Now, I don't want to type it like all the time, generate post content for this post. So what I can do is simply right click here and simply click on drop down. All of these things will become a drop down. So over here, I can give it a color, let's say orange, yellow color over here. Ready for review can be blue, post this content can be purple, and posting done can become green. If I click done, you can see here, Google Sheet is like one more good powerful tool. You should always use it to like with good extent. So you can see here, now all of these things came. I just delete it. And if you click on any of these particular drop down, you'll see all of those four things. So now I have better control on my whole content generation as well as how the content is going to be published. Right? That's a better approach. Again, I'm telling you one more time, it can be completely different for your own use case, for your own thought process. So you may want to have do it in a different way, but we should all build clarity. We should all build a vision before we start building the automation. That's my thought process, right? Now, let's go ahead and start building the automation. So first of all, my thought is put all the ideas over here. So ideas can be parked and they can be used by AI to generate the content. Second is this control, which should be enabled before we take things over there. Let's get into the automation workspace. Perfect. See here. So this is the start point for us. Now, as soon as you click on make.com, this particular first step, click over here and you will see a long list of different applications. So you may even see a couple of really popular names. Google Sheet is there, OpenAI, ChatGPT is there, Facebook is there, LinkedIn is there, Instagram, Airtable, Google Doc, Google Drive, Monday.com, Gmail is there, and many, many more tools which you generally see every day in, day out on your professional or business life. Now, let me just give an example. If I just type in something here called Google, see, almost 30 plus applications from Google are available automatic by default available inside make.com. You don't have to do anything. You can just play around and do any sort of automation on these apps. This include Google Plus, Google Sheet, Google Doc, Google Drive, Google Map, Keep, Chat. Even you would have not heard many names over here. So Google Task is here, Google Photos is here, Google Groups, Calendar, Slides, Gemini is there, Shopping is there, Google My Business is there, many, many more. If you just type in here Microsoft, for example, let's go with this and say Microsoft. See here, Microsoft Teams, To Do, email is calendar, Power BI, something called Microsoft Intra ID. You would have never heard of that, but it's also exists. Microsoft Dynamics is a CRM that also exists. SQL Server is there. 365 People is there. Planner is there. Many, many different business apps. You just type in CRM over here. You will find more than 100 different CRMs which are popular at the global level. See, one CRM is there, HubSpot, Pipedrive, Aspo, Zoho, Sugar CRM, Close. It's an endless list. So in the similar way, Make got you covered with more than 2000 such business apps, which are like very popular in use, right? So once you click here, mostly you will find your app. Just type here on the search apps, something called, let's say, Google Sheets. So our process starts from Google Sheet, right? Now, once we click on this Google Sheet module, you see there are multiple actions, multiple triggers available over here. So it all depends upon your process. But To start with, you see here, it has something called watch new raw. So the scenario can trigger as soon as there is a new raw added to Google Sheet. But that's not the right trigger for us because we don't want to trigger whenever we add every new line. We wanted to just park it there. And when it fulfills the condition that the generate post content is a tag to any post, any particular item, then only it should work. Then there are more actions like add a raw, update a raw, bulk update, bulk insert, search raw is there, clear, delete, watch changes, update cell, perform functions. Remember I told you something? When you go to UI, this kind of interface, see, UI is built for easy use by the humans, right? So on this whole interface, you see very less things. Only compose button is there, couple of folders are here, and there are some actions you can take while clicking over here. But when it goes to API, APIs are way more enrooted in the system. And as compared to what you can do on UI, you can do many more things on APIs over here, right? So APIs are much more advanced as compared to the UI part on screen, right? Because UI has to manage the UX as well, user experience, right? So over here, you can see there is are more and more options available like this. Now, to start with Google Sheet, you can see here there is something called search raw, right? And where it says return result matching the given criteria. So obviously we have a criteria in mind, like whenever there is a post which is marked as content, generate content for this post, then only this should pick and this should be considered by the automation. So let's go ahead and choose this particular trigger called search raw. Right? Now, as soon as we do it, there will be a question. How Make knows which Google Sheet I'm talking about, which Google Sheet I'm using, right? Because Make does not have any connection, any like kind of integration, any talk with my Google Drive. Make doesn't know who am I, like which particular sheet, which particular task I'm talking about. So what Make will say, Make will ask you, why not you connect me with your Google Drive or with your Google Sheet and let me take a look like what all information are available there. So whenever you add any module, you will see there is a connection tab at the top and this will have a button called create a connection, right? Since my connection is already created, so I can see all the connections over here. But in case if yours is not, simply click on add connection and then you will see something like give it a connection name. So in case if you are trying to add multiple accounts, give it a name. I generally follow practice like I always put a date 26 March and dash I'll say admin gross tax. That's the account I'm going to use. Then over here you see there is a button called sign in with Google. So click on this. A pop-up will come like this and then it'll ask you which Google account you wanted to go with. I'll say go ahead with admin gross tax. Now once we are here, it'll ask me like, do you want to sign in with Make? I said, yeah, absolutely fine. Then it is asking me, do you want to allow Make to control your Google Drive files, control your Google Sheets? I said, obviously, yes, that's how Make is going to work with my sheets. So simply allow that. And again, I'm telling you, Make is very much secure platform or Zapier is very much secure platform. You can go ahead and allow connections. There is no risk. Then once the connection is established, now this system will ask me, there can be hundreds of Google Sheets or Google files inside your Google Drive. How would I know which particular file you wanted to work with? So simply here, you'll have to choose which sheet you wanted to work with. So go here, follow the spreadsheet ID, or maybe as soon as you click here, there will be a whole list of all the Google Drive, all the Google Sheet files exist in your Google Drive will come here. You can see all of them are coming over here like this, right? Now, what you can do is simply type in the file name. So I said master social media is my file name. If I just expand it, I can choose this one. See here, so something called master social media automation content and posting version 1. This is my file name. So if you go here, see, check out this one. So this is the file which I'm going to work with. Then within a file, there can be multiple sheets exist. So over here you see something called social master. Then here's something called social media posting tracker. Then my content manager. Now similar way, I can have 100 more sheets over here, right? So it is asking me which particular sheet you wanted to work with. I simply say I want to work with something called social media posting tracker, right? That's how I connect it. Then it is asking me, does this particular table has headers? Because otherwise, if I say no, is going to consider the first line as my content. So I said, yeah, my sheet has a particular headers over there. So if I go here, see this row number one has all the headers. This is not a post content. It is actually the headers which are part of the whole structure. Then what column range I should select? By default is selected well only. And then simply click save. That's it, right? The first level of configuration is done with the Google Sheets. Now, okay, one important thing, never forget this button. This is called save button, right? One really crucial thing about Make is it does not save your scenario progress automatically. There is no funda of auto save, and that can cost you many hours, right? So simply always click on save button and store your progress, whatever you've done, just save it. Perfect. Now, once we're here, we connected our sheet and we said, okay, search raw from my particular Google Drive, this particular sheet, right? You can always click this small button called run once to test your automation workflow. So click run once and let's see the magic. So it got us data from different lines from my Google Sheet. See here, there is something called raw number two, and there is a column A has value. Write a post on how the AI generalist role is going to be very important in the future. The second raw number three has establishment of businesses operations using AI. So see, both of these things are over here. And since content is available only in column A, that's why only column A came out. Otherwise, if content is there, they'll also come out. So see how easy it is to integrate your Google Sheet inside make.com. Right? This is the step number one. Now, as we said, we should have some sort of control over here. And whenever I say generate content for this post or post this content, these are two my actions which I wanted to take with automation. Then only the data should go inside automation, otherwise not, right? So if I choose something here, let's say generate content for the post. If I go back, go here on this particular search raw. Guys, sorry, I'm not looking at the comment at the chat for now. I'll answer your questions. Maybe you'll just try to put questions inside form, right? Otherwise, they may lost. Okay, guys, see here. Once I configure this whole thing, there is a middle level called filters or filter. I can filter the data which I wanted to get from my Google Sheet because as I said, I don't want to get all the data all the time. I want to get selective data. So as soon as I click on here, see the magic. It already has everything listed over here. All the values from different columns. So column A has content idea, B has Facebook post content, C, D, E, F. F is the control column. So over here I can say if my control column is equal to simply say generate content for the post. If it is this one, then only go ahead and grab that particular line. Now, if I simply save this, let's go to Google Sheet. See here, this one has generate content for post, but the second line, like row number three, doesn't have anything. It's blank, right? Now, if I run it once again, earlier there were two results, row number three and four, sorry, two and three. Now there is only one single result coming out, which has something called column F, generate content for the post. It did not came or not returned this particular result. Not at all, right? And that's how we can have better control inside Make what we wanted to work with. Along with this, we also have a second status, which is called post this content. So obviously I should apply another rule, which is called add or rule. Here I say, if my control column status is post this content, then also the content should come out. So either the status is this or the column control status is this. In both the cases, I wanted to have things coming out. Right? Now, can anyone tell me, we got the content here. We received our Google Sheet content here. The post idea. What should I do next? Any ideas quickly? I'll take a quick water break. What should I do next? What is a part of the process? Link Facebook? No. See, we only have the post content idea. We do not have any content here. We do not have even the image. Link ChatGPT, generate content. Amiable, yes, absolutely right. So we should generate the content. We should link this post idea into our GPT. But with GPT, are we talking about this GPT that we use over here on UI? Not actually, because this GPT, I have to write everything by hand by myself because this GPT doesn't work on make.com, right? Now, but then with GPT works. So there is a backend of GPT. If I go here, or if you go here, something called openai.com. See, this is the GPT interface, a user part, a UI part where all the users are working. But if you go back here on ChatGPT website or OpenAI website, you will see something called here API platform. If you click on this, there's something called API login, right? And then now GPT will say this whole thing which we saw earlier, the Python code, Java code, curl request and all. And now we are not bothered about this because we got the power of automation, right? So let's get into the main part of the API side. Now, if I go here, if I simply add another module with a small click and I'll say ChatGPT, just type in ChatGPT over here and you will see there are multiple AI things are coming in, Chat Guru, Fresh Chat, these that, but at the top we got our OpenAI ChatGPT thing. Let's click on this and see there are many different variations available from API. There's something called Message and Assistant, which is equivalent to custom GPT on APIs. There is something called Create a Completion, almost identical to what we do on the user interface. Then there are more actions like transform text into structured data, analyze images, generate image, edit image, create translation, transcription, moderation, audio creation, many more things are there. See, all of these things you don't even see on your normal GPT interface because that is a UI. That's not an API thing. APIs are much more enrooted in the system. So that's where we can get this whole lot of more options, whole lot of more things out on the API side. Now, for our purpose, we'll simply go with something called create a completion. So let's click on this. Again, GPT is going to ask us who you are. Sorry, Make is going to ask us who you are, what kind of GPT you wanted to use. Make is not giving you any GPT. So we'll have to establish our connection over here. So click on add and then we'll have this thing coming out. So obviously we can give it a name and then here is the API key requested by the make.com. So it can authorize like your GPA, your API usage. So we can simply go here, click on this settings icon, and then there is something called API key, right? Now we can straightforward create an API key over here. So click on this create new secret key. I'll say masterclass 26th March, and then I can choose a default project, which is a default project over here, and simply create secret key, right? Now this API key generated, simply copy. Let's go to make, paste this key, and our connection is done, right? See, this is how simple it is. Now, once we are here, it'll say which model you wanted to choose. Right? Now, if you click on this, it'll give you a long list of different models, which are latest as well as the most earliest one. So over here, you can see there is something called O3 latest model. O1 is another latest reasoning model over here, as well as 4.5, 4 also has a very economical version called 4O mini, right? This is one of the cheapest model from GPT, fastest as well as most accurate. Then alongside this, you can even use GPT-4, GPT 3.5. So those kind of models can also be used for different type of tasks. Now, but our reason will go with something called GPT-4o mini. Before that, let me just show you something more over here. Once we created this API key, remember I told you GPT, this backend is completely separate, completely different from